Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Stephen Ford. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yo, what's happening, everybody?
So, a lot is going down in the world of the 40Ks. Well, tabletop wargaming in general, I suppose. Juice, it's good to have you back, bud.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know you've been busy with
man.
the charity stuff.
Yeah, it's so much going on right now. It's as long as everything goes to plan. This Friday will be 3 weeks back to back. Heading to the Lumberton, North Carolina area that got devastated by Hurricane Matthews. What's for lunch is either had stuff donated or done itself, which is my food truck. You know, we've touched over 2,000 mouths with either food and drink and whatever else over the last 2 weeks. And
I love the way you said that.
Yes.
Yeah. You know,
I've never touched 2,000 mouths.
Yeah.
Not to make light of this very real tragedy.
True.
But in our own special long war way.
Absolutely. We got to keep it icy, as they say. But no, man, we've delivered or made to be delivered just under 1,300 plates of food. Had donated just under 1,100 sodas, you know, just under 1,600 pieces of candy, you know, chips, everything
What kind
else.
of candy?
Obviously we have to go Airheads.
Yeah, they have the
Blow
best
Pops.
mouthfeel.
Yo, absolutely. Long lasting, you know, Blow Pops. Just did a lot, man.
I haven't had a blow pop in years, but there's the entire, you know, grade school economies are based on blow pops.
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
for real. And cans of soda.
Yep. 15 pounds of Jolly Ranchers donated, you
I'll
know.
put those in my
and your vodkas.
Yeah.
You should think about toys too.
My Zimos.
So actually, true story. My girlfriend gave me the idea. We always talk about what we can do and events, and you know, just bouncing ideas off each other. And it's in the works. Hopefully, it'll be more finalized within the next. Actually, after I get back, coming from a cruise, I'll be gone next week, heading out to the Bahamas for 5 days. Try to take a break after this last 40 days of working my balls off. So we're going to finalize it, getting everything going before we leave. But it's going to be a kids fundraiser for the children of Lumberton. And we're going to raise money to buy as many Christmas presents as possible. It's going to be like, adopt a family for Christmas that people do, but we're literally going to try to adopt a city, you know, like see how many barbecue plates or chili cook-off. Again, we haven't got the details worked out specifically, but you know, we've done stuff. And I mean, if we can raise, depending on getting food, you know, donated, bought, do the work ourselves, everything else, I'm shooting a goal for anywhere between $3,000 and $5,000, and that'll buy a whole lot of Christmas presents. You know, just to put it in perspective, like Lumberton, North Carolina is like Haiti right now. You know, there are people just now trying to get back to their feet. It's like they're saying some people like that lost their homes, period. You know, people who didn't, they could be without power and water still for another 3 weeks. And this happened 3 weeks ago, you know. And let me put some light on something we've been doing, and I don't want to take up too much time. And, you know, sorry for everybody who's listening that doesn't really care too much and wants to hear 40K. We have plenty of that coming. But, you know, with doing this endeavor, it was you know, for everybody that knows that listens, my father passed away back in February, and definitely the legacy that he left behind is just his willingness to help people and do things. He secretly, not even secretly, but like not to the forefront of his character that people would know, but he probably organized and orchestrated anywhere between 10 and 25 fundraisers a year for people, whether that's somebody that just found out they had cancer and he would do, try to get food, and raise, maybe they could only raise $500, but he would do it. You know what I mean? And it was unbelievable how, how many people he helped with that. And so that's where I started down this path of, found out about it and whatnot. And I mean, it's just unreal what we've been able to accomplish already with little money or donating and stuff like that. But where I'm going with this is I just can't believe that I have standards, right? And I'm just like, all right, well, I'm getting stuff donated. We're doing like homemade spaghetti and Southern style green beans and fresh yeast rolls. And, like this past time I did candy yams and cheeseburger mac and cheese. And, I just, trying to give quality still, Do you know what the Red Cross, who we spend money, who's supposed to be like this huge relief effort fund place, the Red Cross and FEMA, what they give these people? What their meals that they give, we do this, right? And I can try to get it to like under $1 a person. I do the work myself. I buy it in bulk. I do all this, right? These people that their relief funds for crisis, relief food is a pink hot dog, a slice of white bread, and 3 to 5 tater tots. That's what the Red Cross is feeding these people. Like the soup and soda crackers that they give them literally looks like they took canned vegetables, dumped it in a pot and water, and that's it. And literally served it like this is depression food. This is like our prison. People in prison right now get fed 3 square meals a day better than what, some crisis relief team efforts are doing. Like this is just, it is so unbelievable to me to how big Red Cross and the entity itself that it is and supposed to be whatever. And the CEO of Red Cross makes $650,000 a year plus bonuses. But all they can afford is giving, whatever. So I would love, to bring some awareness to that. It's so shocking to me being involved and seeing firsthand, so. But either way, there it is. I got some stuff going on. If you're out there, only thing that I'll say is please, nothing is too small. I own ultimately at the end of the day, a little shitty food truck that I do my best at, but because I decided to put my head to something, I called, got some stuff donated, had some people reach out, done some interviews, and we've fed in 2 weeks working on our third, just under 2,000 people, and had stuff like that. And, the joy and the personal gratification that it brings and the tears that people share with you because of how touched they are that you did it is worth triple what you've ever spent out. So nothing's ever too small. Go out and help people.
Yo,
Juice, the most selfish individual in the world.
I mean, for real, like,
does it all for the feel goods.
That's right.
I don't even know what to say there. Like, man, good on you, dog. Like, oh my gosh, I'm embarrassed for us. For man, you hear about all that other stuff that happened in New Orleans, and then this happens so close, and there's it's just
a true story. Like literally put it in perspective too for the people that are listening, driving, and everything else. Like the place that I'm talking about is not like 10,000 miles away. It's not. You don't get on a jet.
I've stopped there many a times. Like I know exactly where it is.
For real, it is 36 minutes from my house where I'm sitting at right now. It is 44 minutes from Robbie B's house right now. It is right around the corner. I mean, so that's just how close. And I'm telling you, I know for a fact that, when something happens in the next area that might be 2,000 miles for us, you know what I mean? But it might be in you, the listener's ear, you could be the 35 minutes away, stop by, see what you can do. We had personal friends of the show. Brian Delgado, man, had some massive problems with his house. Nick, flooding. Nick Shaner, a lot of people have been touched by this. So, we try to come together in the community. So.
Yep, no doubt. I was helping my buddy Barclay because his house got a bunch of trees.
Shit got real when Robbie B's out there with a chainsaw doing slash removal.
Yo.
First of all, let's be honest. That ain't me, dog. I just helped carry some boxes, but.
Well, shit got real when Rob Bear's out there carrying some heavy ass boxes.
It's true. It turns out I have an SUV, so I can haul a few things here and there. So
it's getting down to it. You know, it's getting real when Robbie B warms the car up while everyone else loads the heavy boxes in the vehicle.
Oh, it's not that bad.
I can see him out there with his sweater on and his heater on in his car. It's like, oh man, it's a cold one out there.
Yeah. Hand warmers in the jacket pockets and the pants pockets.
You know, it just started getting cold here, and I'm walking around in jackets, and I think people are like secretly looking at me like, why are you wearing a jacket? And I'm like, yo, it's cold.
I saw some stupid people walking around LA yesterday with a hoodie. I was like 9:30 at night. I went to the Flyway to pick up Bonet from the wedding she was on. She was in Philly for a wedding. I'm like chilling in a parking lot with the windows down, and these guys are walking up in there all with their hoodies on, with their hands like blowing into their hands. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's like 75 degrees. Like my house is 72 degrees AC'd right now.
Yeah, it's so funny is when Rob said people thought that he thought people were looking at him kind of weird. It's because he was walking around his house, which was set at 75, and he had the jacket on, and it was the gardeners were looking at him like, why does that dude have a jacket on inside his house?
That's Robbie B.
Yeah.
75.
Yeah, 75 feels great when you have a jacket on.
I have long sleeves on right now. I'm not ashamed to say that.
No, you're not. Anyway, Rob, take us.
Yeah, let's talk about some toy soldierings. So this week's fantastic.
Oh, is that what we do on this podcast here? We talk 40K
and sometimes poo
and fantasy.
Yeah.
Or Age of Sigmar.
Age of Sigmar.
You guys ever have an opportunity to get Juice alone for? It takes about 16 minutes. Ask him. Just ask him. He'll know what you're talking about.
Just say it.
He has a story for you. Let me tell you.
You can approach the comment by saying approach the conversation by saying I've gonna wait my 16 minutes, and then I just know you're willingly gonna tell me the story, and I'm gonna say.
I've had people sit through my 8-minute story and say there's no better story. I can't imagine a better story. And then, well, you got 16 more.
Yep.
Yeah. We can get you almost to a half hour. Oh, all right. So this week there's something coming out. It's called The Burning of Prospero. You might have heard of it. There's a lot of videos on the internet.
Prospero. God, I gotta remember how to say that word. I'm always like Prosperabo, Pereira's the.
Yeah. You're close.
I already forgot to say it. Prospero. Got it. Remember now.
Think about prosperity, because that's kind of what this box is
about, right?
Yeah. Prosperity. If the Space Wolves coming to spread the Emperor's joy.
No
to the
teaser trailer had ever got me more hype than that voiceover trailer with Ahriman.
It was definitely two different points of view, I feel like.
Finally, we got the good guy point of view, you know?
Yeah, no, totally. So that box is coming out this week, finally. It's $150 retail. We talked about some of the retail breakdown. You could make the argument.
It's possibly the best deal yet.
Yeah, it's a very, very, very good deal. Now,
there is no deal better right now in GW Store.
Well, that is true. There isn't.
There's no current deal as the good.
And as far as the modelings go, you know, once you get to take a closer look, like look at the Mark III armor just right off the bat. I mean, I took a closer look at it. A lot of the stuff is like basically it's more highly detailed than it should be, because the Iron Armor inherently is kind of a boring armor. It's kind of like, you know, the first armor Iron Man has when he makes in the cave. It's kind of like that. And it's a little boring, but GW really does their due diligence. It's probably the best set of Space Marine armor that we've ever seen in plastic. The amount of detail, the way that all the components fit together, it's just phenomenal. Like just can't say enough good things about that. The Tartaros guys, those are the other Terminators that come in there.
The tartar sauce?
Yes, the tartar sauce guys. They are amazing detailed kits. Like, I have some of the resin ones, and I just want to throw them out, even though they're painted, because they are that well done. Like, this kit is the shiznit. The Custodes are multi-part. You know, they're amazing quality. The system,
you get every weapon option.
Yep, you do. I messed up one of my videos and said there was 3 spears in there, and about 30 comments later, I had to ask people not nicely to stop commenting that I said that. Like, yes, I know what I said. Yes, I know I made a mistake. Thank you for catching it. We don't need 30 comments about this here, folks.
Rob, you're the stupidest individual on earth. Your face is dumb, and when you talk I hate it.
Yeah,
I mean, you're so ugly. First off, you're the ugliest person in 40K, and there's 5 spears, you idiot.
Very dumb. Very, very dumb. Cats are stupid. Your golf swing is also bad.
Yeah.
All the comments I've heard. So I think it's a great kit. Like money-wise, design-wise. I haven't played the game yet. Haven't had time to break down the game. We're super busy around the studio this week. So I really want to. Don't know enough about it, but I know when I saw the different colored or the different sided dice in there, I got this epiphany about those, and I'm probably
your epiphanies are always spot on.
I like how the different sided dice come in there, and I feel like I'm going to use a lot of those for my Age of Sigmar games to track wounds rather than the Prospero game. I'm just, spoiler alert, letting you know. So I feel like I'm going to get more use out of the dice there. But I love the Calth game. I loved it. I couldn't get a lot of people to play it with me, but I felt like it was kind of like watered down Horus Heresy Age of Darkness, which is, basically 30K. Speaking of 30K, there is rules for the Custodes and the Sisters for both 30K and 40K. And you're probably like, hey, I don't know about no Sisters rules in 30K. Well, in the White Dwarf, they say they will be in next month's White Dwarf issue, which we might also get the new Book 7 Inferno for Horus Heresy as well next month, if we're lucky, and they decide to release it at.
I just can't believe a magazine is still a thing here.
It is. It's a great the new White Dwarf's great. Like besides the fact, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just saying it comes super late. Like I get it on like day 15, and I'm just like that kind of doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, I went to a local hobby shop and picked up the White Dwarf today, matter of fact, and you know what? I feel perfectly okay, and I feel like it's very acceptable for $9. What you get? It is I think it's a great book.
$9 a month.
That's what the White Dwarf is, and let me tell you, the content that is put in. Again, we are still it's still GW Touch, so it's like a high resin, good looking, very quality pictures and everything
Good car
else.
stock.
Yeah, I'm very pleased with, what I didn't like back in the day with the other White Dwarfs. It's like, it's 40K, it's 40K. Oh, this whole month, this whole White Dwarf is nothing but Lord of the Rings. Then the next two are nothing but fantasy. Then we get back to some 40K against, damn, I literally missed out. But no, they've got beautiful armies on parade. Like, I'm really impressed.
I think a lot of people are, and I feel like people are buying this thing. They seem to be really digging into it with renewed vigor and getting it out there. So I'm super stoked for it. I think it's a good thing. And plus they're putting a lot more rules in there. Like this issue, they put in the Custodes for 30K. They also put in the Knight Veritant for Age of Sigmar. And there's something else in there. Oh, there's a scenario for using the Plastic Contemptor in games of Prospero Burns or Burning of Prospero. So I feel like overall it's great. It's a great resource. There's a lot of stuff in there from painting. Obviously there'll be a review of it this week on Spikey Bits too, so you can kind of see for yourself like maybe what you might be missing. But speaking of something you might be missing as well, another fantastic product this week from Games Workshop, and I think a lot of people are like, I don't want to buy their painting guides because I can just watch Duncan do it online, or I can watch Kenny, or I can watch Rob, or whoever. Or, they should have that free download on their website or whatever, which I kind of agree with a lot of times. They used to do that in the past. They used to be able to get that in the codexes even, back in 3rd edition days. But now is now, and real recognize real. A lot of these guides they put out, these painting guides, and this one, what I'm talking about is the Burning of Prospero painting guide that comes out this week. It is amazing. It's probably one of the best ones yet. I think it retails for $10. It has all of the legions in there, like the paint scheme. And that's a problem with Horus Heresy, is a lot of times you're like, well, how do I paint White Scars? Or how would I paint that metallic blue for, Alpha Legion or something? It's all in there. And not only is that in there, but they show you how to do Aramon. They show you how to do, Gregor, whatever his name is. Gygor, I don't even know.
Kodo.
But yes, he is in there too.
Gregor Kurgan.
it is a valuable resource and probably one of the ones that's going to sell the most because it is so far-reaching, I guess. You know, you can literally paint any chapter, any legion. It's all in there. Like, plus special characters. What more do you want out of a guy? Like, I feel like that's what we want. So this one is going to sell. I don't know if they reprint these things, but you know, if you see it and you got an extra $10 in your pocket and you got to decide between the White Dwarf this month and the Pink Guide, I'll go with the Pink Guide personally. You know what I mean?
That's I like that. So I need to look into that because, you know, my paint game is on point. You know, I told you guys I would take me a while before I got on Twitch because I didn't want to take the scene over. My airbrush techniques, I've got some new ones. They're called traditional. You take a straw and you like have you guys ever siphoned gas? So what you do is you put a hose in somebody's gas tank and you have to get the gas flowing. So you have to suck it out, you know, and then you have to spit the gas out of your mouth. You almost die, you know, but so it's flowing now. It's flowing. So basically what you do is you take straws, and I use different kind of straws. So you can go up to the big gulp if you want to do tanks and stuff like that, or we can go for some little more details and do like coffee straws and stuff, stirrers, you know. But basically you dip the straw into the paint, suck in a little bit, and then blow brushing is what it's called.
Blow brushing.
It's gonna be a thing. I've got a set of straws that I'm marketing right now.
I feel like I've seen a meme about this somewhere.
If it's not out there, I need to make it, you know. Corner the market.
I mean, you can even take like a paper towel or like something and just like hold it tight over the tip of the straw and blow as hard as you can to get like more of a fine mist to go through it.
I like that. Like a shard.
Yeah, like a shard.
I feel like you guys are describing an episode of South Park. Anyways, this is all very revolutionary. I think you should patent it.
It is. It's real things.
It's a good technique. I like it. Blow brushing. We're gonna have to talk about that in our tutorials, Kenny.
No doubt. I'm gonna do it on Friday on Twitch. I'm gonna be first to market.
That's it.
You gotta get there quick.
Baller on a budget status.
There it is.
Here it is. Yeah, if you want to make your own airbrush station, you don't have $400. Well, let me show you how to.
Yeah, not a big deal. The Awada Eclipse is definitely good, but so is
the straws.
Yeah, you want to get so you get one of the coffee stirrers. You know, get that fine point.
And these I don't want to say it's a lifetime use per straw, but they're durable. You're not going to have to replace these straws that often.
What about the Slurpee? Can you like use the Slurpee one with the little spoon at the end? Like, we need to work
absolutely.
That in?
Well, that Slurpee spoon end is for sculpting and modeling.
Yes.
It's a more advanced tool. The other end of it, it's dual roll. The other end of it is for wide spray doing base coats.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's actually how you use it. Yep.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Next tutorial, you heard it here first.
Yeah, you know how, you know, with the other end of the Slurpee, you know, you can also use that as a shovel for putting after you brush or spray, blow dart the paint onto the bases. You just shovel flocking and stuff like that all over the base.
Speaking of shoveling, I just picked up the whole like base the brush set from GW, like their $50 brush set.
Whew.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
It's only $50.
I think it's like $55. It's the it's the one where it comes with like hold on, I got it right here. I'm gonna review it on Twitch for sure. You know, it's got one layer, one medium layer, one texture, rubber texture thing. God, it looks so cheap. A medium shade brush. People say that's a good brush, so we're trying it. It's got a large base brush, small layer brush, and a medium base brush, which I already bought one of these and reviewed it. I can't wait to show. I've only had it for 2 months. I can't wait to show. It's a fucking like $20 paintbrush, some shit like that. I can't wait to show like how it is held up. It's gonna be a glorious next couple of streams.
Be like, here you go, guys.
Not making the cut, huh?
Like if you're into like this brush is gonna curl on you within 15 minutes of using it, like yeah.
Yo, that's literally what happened to me when I was painting Skaven. I was like, they don't make brushes like they used to.
Nope.
Because I'm using this brush, and after this one session, now I'm kind of rough, but after this one, like
it's like
2 hour
curved
session,
like a
it's
hook.
curved. Yeah, I was like, damn, dude, I remember putting a brush through like 30,000 points of multiple armies to include pumicing bases, you know, super
Elmer's glue, stirring,
Elmer's glue,
hot.
stirring, yeah, going back and doing details all with the same brush. Like I remember, and the worst that would ever happen is small brushes, you know, little prongs would like curl up at the end, and I would just go in and cut
Exactly
the
like
jokers
mouth.
down. Yeah. And here I go, you know, but this, I was like,
Yeah, they don't make them like they used to. Fact.
Nope, they sure don't. Speaking of not making it like you used to, the new expansion pack for FFG for X-Wing comes out this week, and it has the new Millennium Falcon in it with that new radar dish on the top. Remember, because when they come out of the Death Star the last time, it, like, bonked it.
Oh, yeah.
And Han said not one scratch. And Lando, he didn't listen. So he had to buy him a new radar dish for his Millennium Falcon, I think.
Wow.
Is that in the extended universe?
No, I think that really happened. That was in the movie.
Word.
That's a real thing. I know you're a Star Trek fan. I'm sorry. But
I was going to shut you down so hard if you started talking about some extended universe bullshit.
He was waiting for it.
I know he was. No, this is a good set. It's got the Falcon in it. It's got some new pilots. It's got Poe's got his ship in there with the orange tech on it. So it's like $40, and I think a lot of X-Wing players are going to pick it up. It's got some really good upgrade cards in there. I feel like it's going to switch up the game a lot. So look for that one. Scoop it up if you can. If you're into the X-Wings on the space curves, it's kind of going to be a big thing. I feel like. Other releases, next week we got 6 of the Age of Sigmar characters coming out that were in Silver Tower. So that's going to be cool to see rules for some of the different ones there.
Are the Gore Chosen guys also in Silver Tower?
Yes, there's rules for those in Silver Tower too.
But the models didn't come with the set, or
no?
So that means the Gore Chosen box set that I have, that I'm going to be giving away on Twitch on the 15th of November, you can also play in Silver Tower?
Yes. Yeah, there's rules for them. Mm-hmm. And Age of Sigmar. Yep. Silver Tower is a great game. It's fun. There's I guess technically 2 expansion packs for it, but not really anything to the game. It's just actual characters you can run through the game, try to collect all the shards, and take down the Gaunt Summoner. But it's a fun game, and it's cool to see that. I think now there supposedly is a new supplement coming out in 2 weeks on the 12th, and that's that Planetary Onslaught that might be the new Stronghold Assault, but nobody really knows. Like, some people are tallying up all the formations, and it looks like all the current formations, if you put them in this book, it would be the same amount. But we don't really know yet, or maybe it's just brand new stuff. We don't know, but look for that on the horizon.
Just don't know.
That's fresh.
They just put things in a white dwarf to tease us now. I think they know.
Yeah, solid $9 a month investment. There's a lot of things I have for less than that I find more valuable.
But
Hulu Plus.
Yeah, Hulu Plus. Netflix is good. Get your Luke Cage, So no, this is a good solid hobby release, and of course there'll be all sorts of deals at the holidays. So that's pretty much all I got. I know if Haspel was here, you have some crazy underground stuff that I don't even know about. But
Haspel came up in the underground.
He did. He did. So I think we should take a quick break and then jump into basically the meat and potatoes of this episode. Custodes as Unbound, will it stick, or are we going to be forced to play with them competitively?
What does it mean to be a veteran of thelongwar.net? You are the first in the door to all exclusive content, and your clearance will be raised for the earliest access. You can enlist for free. When you're a veteran of thelongwar.net, You are the front line to bringing hobby back. Join our Hall of Veterans at thelongwar.net.
All right, and we're back. Now, Juice, I know you got something to say because you've been talking about Custodes and Plastic Sisters all night.
Yeah, man, like, I cannot wait, like, absolutely pumped. Can't wait to get them on the table. And you know what, furthermore, I want to put a caveat to that. Not necessarily me. I've got so much going on, and I've got armies literally on deck for me to get done and finish and learn and play. And, but I get just as hyped when I see other people getting cool shit because I want to play against it. I want to see it on the table. You know what I mean? So like that's that non-saltiness, like 40K hobby love is some people like, oh man, why isn't my army getting that? Or why isn't this? We'll all say it and whatever else. But ultimately when new shit comes out, I get pumped about it. Because that means I get to see some new conversions that somebody's going to do. I get to see some fresh-ass lists and some sick combo that other people haven't thought of, and I get to play against it. Like that stuff pleases me. And,
you get reverse salty.
Yes, reverse salty. I get sweet.
You get anti-saline, I guess, or
yeah.
What's the? My saline levels rise, especially when some Plastic Sisters come out with all your psychic powers belong to us bullshit, and my fucking chaos are getting take as many warp smiths as you want. Your army's now good.
Yo, let me tell you what
sucks.
Let me tell you what those guys don't want to have to deal with though is some renegade Night Titans and double shooting obliterators.
No, my saline levels are now reduced, are now falling down to normal levels.
I think we can all agree that 40K has never been balanced across the board in any
Never in the history of ever. I tell that shit to people all the time. People are like, oh, chaos is so broke. I mean, so bad. It's so awful.
Like, there's always something awful.
Can we go back to 3.5 chaos? Like, play 3.5 chaos right now. Tell me if you're going to win a game. You're going to lose every game, dog. They have no ability to do any kind of psychic powers with the dam. Just play that dex raw, dog. Like, what about my Dread Axe? It ignores multiple saves. Okay, see if you can get this non-eternal warrior demon prince like across the table.
I mean, it'd be like somebody making an argument for some baseball record, like, well, if Babe Ruth was alive right now, like it's a completely different game.
If he was alive right now, you couldn't even make it to first base.
No, for sure. And second off, if he was alive right now, they'd be banned from the game. Like his antics would not be like. That's what's so killer to me is people are like, oh, well, this and this. Like, man, it's a different time. And the only reason why is because I bring the analogy all the time as I relate a lot of things to football. But like they interview and talk to a lot of football players, and they will be the first ones that will tell you that are in the Hall of Fame today. That are in Hall of Fame. That one of the hardest things to get into is the NFL Hall of Fame. And they're like, if I played in today's 40K. I would be suspended because of social media, how stuff is instantly spread, how all this. A lot of people give Johnny Manziel and all these guys the bad rap, obviously because tool bags 101 he is, but guys were doing just as bad stuff, but because of social media, here's what we have. It's out in the open for everybody to see because everybody has a camera in their pocket, as Kenny will say, or a computer in their pocket. But I could go back and tell you right now a time in which every army sucked balls. And
don't get attached to like the performance that your army had in a different edition. We're not in that edition.
No.
Like say, oh, I wish we played 4th edition 40K. And we say that all the time that we like 4th edition
rule set.
Terrain.
Yes. Terrain.
Don't get hung up on this one thing that 4th edition had right. You had a billion horrible things. First off, you couldn't infiltrate in every game, only some games. So infiltrating units were functionally useless. Couldn't scout in every game, only in some games. You couldn't hold units in reserves, only in some games, so nobody ever did. It wasn't a real tactic. Vehicles, if you got caught in the vehicle and it blew up, you were entangled no matter what your stat line was. You couldn't move.
Yeah, that was blockbuster.
Like literally, that shit sucked.
Period. If any effects that happened to the vehicle happened to the dudes inside, 3rd edition, you couldn't even play with independent characters.
And in 3rd edition, you also anything that was a character in 3rd edition can be picked out by anybody. So if you had like a power fist, everyone's like, oh, power fist. Okay, so I had a squad of 10 guys, one power fist guy, every guy in my squad can swing on, who's close enough can swing on the power fist. You know what I mean? Like literally, like there's all sorts of
doesn't get a chance to swing. Period.
Yeah, it's like so there was a lot more to it than that. Also, like, do you want to play a game where like literally any unit in the game can charge 28 inches basically, like because they can get out of any vehicle that moves 12 inches and assault you?
And keep rolling. Now, you want to talk about like salt levels? Let's talk about the Tau race, and the Necron race when they only had 5 units, literally 5 units. That's what each army had because they were so small, but there's still Tau players. They're small, and you're talking like a Tau army. All it took, I've beaten Tau armies before with
Tau haven't been good until
Gene
6th edition.
Yes. Like literally I can haul ass, get into combat, and then once I'm done with the combat, if my consolidation puts me in base contact with another model
that's
in your army,
3rd edition was 2d6.
Yes, you're talking. It's unbelievable. So yeah,
but I guess it was always a d6.
No, it's always just a d6.
But there was war gear that let you do 2.
There was also war gear that allowed me in special abilities and stuff like that, minor psychic abilities versus major, that would allow me to add +1 inches.
You can consolidate back into your vehicles too. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
If you hit somebody with a caravan Rhino Rush, wipe them all out, roll your consolidation rolls. As long as you're within 2 inches of your vehicle, you're back in it.
Get back in.
So I can roll up, kill you guys, be back in my vehicles. Like this is relevant. Okay, so like it looks like we're off on a tangent, but we're not. I promise. We're going to bring it full circle. I promise. This is going to be good. But please keep telling. Let's talk about how people misremember these things. Like is it not?
Yeah. So absolutely. And so that's why when we talk about like the Golden Age and everything else, like it's more of, I will say when we talk about 4th edition is or 3rd edition, 3.5, even beginning of 5th is the golden era of where the mindset of 40K was, right? Like going to tournaments and having the painting and having all the stuff that we always talk about.
You only remember 4th edition fondly because there was 0 capital involved in having fulfilled out terrain on your tables.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's the only reason you remember it fondly.
Yeah, that's a great point. But so what I really love about the Plastic Sisters, how do you pronounce the name again?
The
Custodes.
Oh, the Custodes.
Custodes, is that their rule sets, they're kind of, if in a vacuum, their strengths and all the upgrades and everything else is taking me back to 5th edition Grey Knights.
Yeah, and it does. It's since you mentioned 5th edition, let's talk about one. Like we talked about, why, all the good things about 4th edition that you misremember, and all the things about 3rd edition. Right? 3rd edition, there was no rules, there's no armies, and it was super imbalanced. And in 4th edition, the rules were overbalanced because of 3rd edition. Then in 5th edition, it seemed like they fixed it. Except in 5th edition, you couldn't blow up a vehicle.
Yeah, period. It wasn't. Mm-hmm. It wasn't going. Also in 5th edition, close combat was the shit. Like a power weapon was a power weapon.
Yeah, everything in Nord armor. Everything. So there was literally, no difference in a Terminator, a fucking Orc, a fucking Space Marine.
Yes, a power weapon.
Same effectiveness and all
that.
But they didn't have any different builds after it got to a point where oh, I got it. No one can blow vehicles. So that's what I remember about. What I remember about 5th edition was that you can literally shoot a Rhino 100 times. And unless you roll that 6.
Also, 5th edition was the era of they immediately changed, and I don't think for the better, cover saves.
Universally a 4.
Yeah, it was basically it didn't matter. There was
50% of your shots didn't do anything.
It was a 4 or 5, and I'm talking about, dude. This is when orcs and everything were going. I just automatically assumed they're like, oh, you can't really see. I'm like, you're right. I can only see a little bit of it. I can only see
this
corner. But you want to know what? You're already getting a 4. If I can say it doesn't get any better under this current rule set.
It made anyone with an armor save of 3 or better not worth taking for their points.
Mm-hmm.
Because mathematically,
you're already, the whole entire board is a 4. There wasn't line of sight block and terrain.
Nobody had units on the floor. There was no more boots to the ground in early 5th.
No,
in all of 5th until the there was maybe a week where it mattered. Then it went away again. Then at the very end it mattered again. But basically, you never had boots to the ground. You only had MSU again. It was all about being in vehicles that were cheap. If everything calls a 4 cover save, that means 50% of your shots didn't do anything. That means 1/3 of your shots missed. Then of the shots that did something, like glances, like how many of them are glances? Let's say another third are glances. So 50% of your shots missed that got through, a third missed, and then a third of them are glances. You need to roll a 6 on a glance to do anything because there's no whole points. And then once you penned, you need to roll what, like a 5 or 6?
5 or 6.
So
yeah. Kenny,
what's
would you
another third? So like
Kenny,
you didn't blow them up.
Would you and Rob both? Would you guys agree that? And I'm trying to remember what I played to a T. Would you say that 5th edition was like? And now I want to caveat this first before I even say my negative. I feel like 5th edition was 3rd, 4th, and 5th were my favorites. I would have to say there's parts of 5th that I just fell in love with. There's the most fun, had a lot of great time. I love 5th, but I feel like 5th was the biggest Spam Adams edition we've ever had.
5th.
Rob, that was Leaf Blower.
That was Space Wolves with missile spam.
Oh, that was like the same things where, in the tail end was like Screamer Stars.
Yeah, it was
that
all.
That was 1 week. Like that, I'm not gonna summarize it by like how at the very end we got Death Stars. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not gonna summarize it with
from like that last summer to like that March was that.
It felt like it was nothing but, you play one Grey Knight build is like 8 autocannon dreadnoughts. Oh, you play Space Wolves? Do you have missile spam?
They literally had like 6 just Razorbacks,
or do you play like the style of Blood Angel? I had 3 Vindicators and 11 Razorbacks.
And our Blood Angels that we wanted Dedicon with, that was only Blood Angels for a week. Like that's what I'm saying. Like that's because that was the week basically before new Space Wolves and new Grey Knights came out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, new Grey Knights had not come out yet, and New Space Wolves had not come out yet.
Yeah, that army wouldn't have gone well.
Matter of fact, I even remember Ultramarine players, or Space Marine players, again playing Razorback, Last Blast, with 5 man insides, with Calgar, was a strong list around. But so either way, where we're getting at is for anybody who's complaining about their army or anything else like that, there's always, how many salty people were back in the day? When IG Tank Company literally got taken away from
Lower Guard, which had 2 exploits. One, it was all vehicles. 2, it was all strength 7, strength 6 shooting, which was the best type of shooting if it's all about volume. And secondly, there was no terrain because we hadn't adapted terrain yet because we were still going from 4th edition felt. Mm-hmm. So you still felt on the table that was like area terrain, but literally didn't do anything because there was it had no substance to it. And I would say like to comment on what you said of like, 5th edition is my favorite edition because, or this or that. I think for me, the reason I remember those editions so fondly is because they were so easy and I was so good at them. You know what I mean? That's why I have fond memories of them, and I have to like balance that with how I feel about how much more difficult 40K is because it's so much more not that it's bookkeeping in the sense of like always playing, but it's like to understand 40K currently takes way more time. To understand everything available takes way more time. It's way more to digest, and I think that's the only reason I think so fondly of these past editions. And I can be honest with that about myself. I'm like, 5th edition was easy and I was really good at it. That's why I loved it. It's also why I love 3rd edition so much and was so salty about 4th edition. Like, I wasn't as good at it. I wasn't, and then I got good again in 5th edition.
5th edition was more like Age of Sigmar. I was just talking to the webcast. Like, it was very much a bloody, either you shot a shit ton and that was your tactic, or you rushed forward and destroyed shit. That was your tactic. Like, I can see what you're saying. Like, absolutely. But to kind of
there's no higher brain function.
Yeah, but to kind of bring it all full circle, we might have to. The reason why we're bringing up all these different editions and why things are playing into effects and why whatever else has changed is 9 times out of 10 not a bad thing. We do learn from things. So, if in 6 months from now everybody's playing Unbound, then we're going to be talking about in 7th edition. Wow, I really like 7th edition. It played. It gave us so many more options than what we've ever had before. The ally matrix, really allowed us to do this and this, and it led us to Unbound.
And now, guess what? In Unbound, you can never complain about somebody else's formations. You can never complain about Oh man, I don't have all these formations or all these cheap this or that. You can play whatever you want, man. If the thing you care about the most is winning, then Unbound will give it to you, even if you're a Chaos player.
But remember too, like things still work together based off the allies chart.
Yeah, if you want to you can take any amount of detachments. You can do anything still.
Sure.
You can, but you can take any single model.
Right. Yeah. And then it's not an issue. And I think, like Kenny was alluding to is the new Custodes Guard and the Sisters of Silence Squad, them only being available as Unbound units now for, I guess, competitive play or any play, because there's no way to fit them into Battleforge.
You play Warhammer 40K 7th edition, the rules. That is how you play them.
Right. And now, it puts a lot of things on heels, because you got these dope looking models. Are they going to come out with a codex? Are they come out with a formation? Are they going to come out with, what are they going to come out with?
I think they might get a data. I think it's going to be a data slate for a while, and then maybe during Christmas we might get a cool formation.
I feel like in the back of my mind, Games Workshop really is going to want to close out this 6-month period that ends, December 31st. On a high note, because they've had a rough patch of it. I think everybody can agree, and they're ready to go out with a bang and show people, hey, we're back, we're making the right moves. Hey, look at us. Hey, look at us. I can see them coming out untraditionally, more releases in November and also December, whereas normally we would just see like coffee mugs and bits boxes and tins and things, in the past.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love those things. Don't stop making them.
No, don't stop making them. I need something to buy for my cat stocking. But, at the end of the day, there's stuff on the horizon. They've been doing this great job at guerrilla marketing. They've, put stuff in the White Dwarf and then purposely didn't have a release date or a price on it, like Planetary Onslaught. If you're in Discord right now, you can see the actual page from the White Dwarf that Evan Valdike put up in there. So it's like, they've got a lot of things going for them, and they could come out with a supplement. We talked about this earlier. They could do something with like the Webway War, whereas there's an explainable way for why these guys are an army's worth of models, when normally they'd be chilling on Terra, drinking their coffee, keeping an eye on the Emperor, stuff like that. Because you just normally don't see Custodes just all deploying. They are the manifestation of the Emperor's will, and a reminder to all those that see them across the battlefield that you are in the wrong according to the Emperor, and we are here to show you why. We are not just Space Marines. We are the instruments of his divine will.
I love that. No, and I think that's important to remember, because the title of the show is, Will Unbound Stick? And because all these new sick models are coming out that are insanely popular and something we've been craving for a long time, and that's why we brought it full circle. Third ed to now, and how you remember things, and it's so easy to remember something because of change. Embrace it. I would say 100% embrace it, man. Like I don't see a problem with Unbound, and I have a 2-tiered reason behind that. I'm not even going to caveat it with like in a bringing a hobby bag event. Like nothing is a problem in bringing a hobby bag event. We've said this 1,000 times. I don't even think Unbound's a problem in non bringing hobby bag events. And I'm not saying that we're using that as a term to describe hobby scores. And when I say you're a non bringing hobby bag event, it might sound like a demonization, like of your lack of hobby scores. Like I'll continue to call you a non bringing hobby bag event if you continue to call hobby scores soft scores, because that is also
like that.
You know what I'm saying? That's also a demonization. That's there. That word is there to designed to make you feel like a punk bitch because you care about the hobby scores. No, they're hobby scores. So it's bringing a hobby back event. But I don't see a problem with Unbound in these win-loss events. Like predominantly like the most popular event in the United States right now, the ITC format. I do not see a problem with Unbound there, because it is practically Unbound right now. A lot of people don't realize this about ITC. It's almost completely open-ended.
Yeah, when you start voting for what you want in, like Lords of War, for instance, with the Night Titan, that became a thing, right? So you're basically saying that you're smarter than developers and you want this format, which...
But it's more than that. They have a list on their website of all the things that are legal. It's almost everything. Almost everything in 40K is legal in ITC. Catans are legal. Like Forge World Army lists are legal. Like you can't play Forge World Army lists at a lot of events, including Adepticon, our favorite event. So like what I'm saying is like ITC is already a wide open event, very progressively compared to a lot of my other favorite events as far as what you're allowed to take. It is practically Unbound right now. You can take Forge World Army list, you can take experimental super heavies. Now there is a list of rules changes. And the rules change list is not nearly as drastic as I like to make it out to be, like where I'm just like, oh, you completely changed the mechanics of the game. There are some things that they just don't like, and they have removed them from the game or modified them heavily to fit into the game that they do like. So, so what I'm saying is that I don't see how in that format Unbound will break it. Unbound will not break a bring in hobby bag format, and it will not break the ITC format. It will not. I don't see how it will.
I don't think it'll break it, but once you start trying to bring things in a la carte, like I want this here and I want this, but I don't want this. I don't like mashed potatoes. I want this over here. Then you start creating this whole nother animal. And as we saw in the past, and this is why I'm so salty on it, is we saw this happen in 6th edition. We saw what happened with 6th edition. It's started to happen again in 7th. Even the developer, the studio, is saying 7th edition has become very clunky. And, Unbound, to me, at least, the idea of basically you can play with whatever you want.
Sure, it does kind of declunkify it a little bit if you really think about it.
That seems pretty declunkified. And, just as long as you keep in mind how things function together on the tabletop based on how allies work, it's very similar, if you think about it, to how Age of Sigmar works, where you have these grand alliances, which are basically 4 different ways to ally. Again, very similar to what we have in 40K. If you think about it, there's different types of allies out there, right? And you can just kind of start plugging stuff in. And you want to play a Codex book, you want to be pure, you want to play Beast Claw Raiders, that's cool. Or maybe you want to play Destruction, maybe you want Ogres and Orcs and something else in there. Well, you can do that too.
Like you best believe my Chaos Army, you won't be seeing no 2 units of cultists anymore. You'll be seeing 2 units of Eldar jet bikes.
Yeah. But I'll say this,
with the marker corn airbrushed on them, like.
Yeah. But you want to know what? To be honest, you probably, now people would, like obviously everybody, it Unbound. Let's say this: if the game goes true Unbound, it is actually like a chess game now. If we all agreed that we all came to the same tournament, every player in a 100-person event has 6 troop choices that are all Eldar jet bikes. Now we're at chess. Now they're all pawns. Mm-hmm. We're getting closer to that next step of, we're having very similar models now. So there's not this rock, paper, scissors, like, nope, we all have the same Eldar jet bikes. Now we all have close combat. Yours is a little different than mine, this and this. But that's just one avenue of thinking. But now I would say this, I look at Unbound a little different right now. And this is only just, again, in a vacuum right now at this current juncture is, I've played quite a few games and done research and studied on Age of Sigmar, and it brings the point to the forefront of my head of what was it? Gosh, I'm drawing a blank on the name. War Machine is if everything in the game is broken, is anything really broken? Like
that's Age of Sigmar we're talking about too.
Right?
Age of Sigmar, everything's OP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, literally Age of Sigmar, everything is unfucking real power level to the 10th degree.
You want to know the only thing that doesn't matter in Age of Sigmar is wounds.
Yeah. Like you just pick shit up. Shit
it's
just
like, you're at 12 wounds. Cool. This makes your save not exist. This is mortal. This is -2. This does 2 damage.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Goodbye. Once you get to like 150 points in a unit, it can pretty much, if it is activated first, for the most part, you can drop a 300-point model. Like there's not this, it's because of the lack of defense, because of the lack of triple redundant saves and this, right? But either way, it doesn't matter. So with that being said, I look at Age of Sigmar, I look at the concept of Unbound, and I think to myself, I am building a Gene Stealer Cult army. How many wasted points am I truly having, because if I could just take all the OP shit, I could actually go toe-to-toe with some things, and not be at a 300, 400-point handicap. If Eldar is already taking the best of everything. You see what I mean? Like, Eldar is already a standard CAD, and well, there's no such thing as standard CAD in the Gladius formations, in the Wind Rider host, in the everything else. They're literally taking the best of the best, right?
If you played a Old Hammer tournament where everyone only got one codex, no flyers, no fortifications, Eldar is the best codex because of that.
Yeah, still.
Yeah. So I mean, like this, they have the best singular.
So for anybody who tells me like, oh, Unbound is going to be unfair, like, word. So you're telling me every army can be as powerful as Eldar now? Like, would you agree? Like, right now, if you played Unbound, your Chaos army would know this. You can literally just say whatever you want, even if you kept it straight. Could you not build something that is?
I already know what I would do. I would drop the cultists. I would take a Eldar ally, and just So now I have an Unbound Chaos, quote unquote CAD, where I just have the units I like from Chaos because I love Chaos, and I will replace the attacks of that army with like a bare bones Farseer and 2 other Jetbike units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's simple. I already know.
I mean, I think fundamentally there's always going to be strong units and there's always going to be not strong units, and the strong units are always going to rise to the top without a doubt. And obviously, Eldar Jetbikes are a strong unit. Let me read this. This is a description. Warhammer World gives or has multiple events each year, and they've really started allowing a lot more open play, like and more hobby centric events, and that's really got me wondering personally if that's something that we're going to start seeing again here in the States, like kind of a return to the days of old, so to speak. This is the description of their Eternal War event that happened in September, I think it was. In this fun week-long event, play 5 great games of Warhammer 40K. Meet new players and enjoy everything Warhammer World has to offer as you totally indulge yourself in your hobby for a couple of days. We will be using the Eternal War missions from Warhammer 40K, the rules, for the first time at the Throne of Skulls with a few added twists, letting you enjoy classic games with a new outlook. Now, their army size was 1750. Now, look at these times. Now, we play a lot of competitive events, and I know a lot of the listeners also do. Times: Saturday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., Sunday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. That sounds like a tournament I can get behind. You know what I mean?
9 to 5.
Like, I feel like I want to be part of that.
Yes.
Just listening to that right there. There's something else I wanted to read to you as well that I think is more pertinent to our current discussion. I'm trying to pull it up here, but basically it's, I don't know why this. Oh, here we go. Is this it? No.
Is it about the clown epidemic in our country right now?
Yeah, it's for real.
Like, I'm getting tired of all these clowns in every street corner.
I don't know how it is out in LA. I don't really see a lot of clowns here. I think they're called beggars out here. How about this way? I don't know.
They're juggalos out here.
Homeless people, I think is what you...
Yo. So
that's weird. Their mobile site comes up with a different version of their site than their actual desktop site. Anyways, so this event here, the army selection for the upcoming one in December, which is the second one they've run, but now it has gone from being strictly Battleforged. It is now Battleforged or Unbound. You choose. Think about that for a minute. And
that's right.
So
that's the question I asked Juice earlier. Do you think this is a way? You think they're using the popularity of Custodes and Plastic Sisters to open our eyes to the whole game as a way to kind of like leverage us, or do you think it's just accident?
No, I 100% think this was done on purpose, and I think that people's passionate begging on their knees begging for this exact army, this exact badassness of rules, this exact everything that they pushed Age of Sigmar, or excuse me, they push the Unbound element to us, and which is fine. Which is fine. If you're telling me that this Gene Stealer cult, I get everything that I want and blah, 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 and the only way to play it in GW's eyes is they have to make a rule that says, or elaborate more, to say that it needs to be played this certain way, then I'm going to play Unbound. Like, it just is what it is. I want to play with these models.
I'm with it. No, I'm 100% in favor of it.
And I think it's perfectly acceptable. Again, what does it do to the competitive scene? As we talked about on the webcast, and Kenny, you alluded to, is our tournament exact structure isn't out yet. So but TOs are going to do what TOs want. When it comes to the major competitive GTs, fine. But if you're at your local shop, if you're, in whatever else, don't necessarily be so hesitant to play Unbound. Everything in moderation, obviously. But if you're telling me, like we did an Unbound battle report, forging the narrative style, like we forged our own narrative, which was Unbound. Okay, so like if things, just because you have the option to run 75 drop pods doesn't mean somebody's going to actually do it.
Or like the old days where you can just run like 20 annihilation barges or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like, I will say this, ladies and gentlemen. I played Ard Boys tournament structure that GW put on for years. I loved it. I think it was one of the best things that they ever did for the hobby. The boogeyman in the room that everybody would talk about in their local shop and say, oh, I'm not going to play Ard Boys because somebody's going to show up with 9 obliterators. That's how powerful obliterators were back in the day, by the way. But that's just not fun. I don't want to play against that. Or somebody's going to show up with 6 annihilation barges with this and this. You know what? 9 times out of 10, nobody does. How many times? I can't tell you. I'm going to shout out Kelsey Haley, the best 40K player in the history of ever. That dude will tell you, he'll talk you out of 40K. He'll tell you he will describe to you 4 lists that he just came up with, and you're like, dude, you're like the guy who created Saw, the movies. Like you're a serial killer.
Yeah, you're a scenario machine.
You are, just unbelievable how your brain works. Like you can literally pull lists out of him. You're like, that is unbeatable. But nobody does that. Nobody builds them. Nobody puts the time. So either way, it is more of the boogeyman. How many 4 Helldrake lists do we see?
Right. Everyone talked about them.
Everybody. And then what was
and I played it once. I played against.
Thing?
So somebody had 4 Helldrakes. Right back, this is like years ago at Feast of Blades, right? Years and years ago. The year I ran all the triple Dark Angel Land Raider list, the Devastation banners.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out there. It was a good tournament for me. I played against Mark Parker in the 1500 point single elimination. Beat Marcus Parkus. He was super mad about it. And then I went on and played a couple games, and then I played against Rain, and Rain had 4 Helldrakes. 4 Helldrakes, like a flying demon prince, and like 3 squads of Devastators with autocannons and some other shit, right? And he's been crushing people, right? And here it is, the first ever 4 Helldrake army list goes up against 3 Land Raiders.
Yep. That's how it goes.
That's how it goes, ladies and gentlemen.
Dude, let me tell you, I remember playing some guys that are getting ready for a tournament. They literally changed their lists. They're like, I can't take this. There's going to be 3 or 4 Helldrakes. Oh, is there? I ain't seen them yet. Where are they at? Just because you scare yourself in their Beats lab, and
that's funny to talk about because that's what the triple Land Raider Dark Angels did.
Mm-hmm.
The non-existence of this list, because I was the only guy who played it as far as I know in the world. Like nobody, we talked about it so much. Like the triple with the power field generators, so they had 4 invulnerables. They had venerable hull status because they had Deathwing vehicles, so they were venerable. They had 4 invulnerables, and they had like 72 twin link bolter shots, like all this shit, right? People were like, oh, what do you do against that list? How can you beat it? Because Necrons are popular. All this shit was popular. Oh, this list, you have to do this. Oh, that won't work. You can't play this because of the Land Raiders. You can't play this. Nobody ever played the Land Raiders. The Land Raider list changed the meta without even existing.
Without even ever existing.
Without even existing.
Just the thought of it. I love it.
So
Yeah, that
that's
was pretty
and
much
so at the
the
end,
biggest
yeah. So at
part.
the end of the day, fuck it. Let's just play fucking 40K, man.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to play that for a while. I'm a 40K fat kid. I want to go to the buffet. I want to get all my models. I want to play with them. And maybe that's just old fashioned. Maybe not, but I seem to be able to do it just fine in Age of
I think that's
Sigmar.
the opposite of old fashioned. I think old fashioned is I want to play one codex. I don't want any of this new stuff in there. I think that's old fashioned. Like playing everything you have in the kitchen sink. That's definitely not old. That's new school. That's new. That's what we're talking about.
I would like to see the tournament scene, and I'll say this is to every TO out there. Everything else, I would like to see a tournament circuit that got to 40K, and literally it's one book only, one source. That's it. You want to talk about like true 40K generals? Like, let's do some shit like that.
Oh, like the mirror match thing where everybody's playing the same way?
It'd have to be a mirror match or just Eldar all day. Like, I mean, I've talked about it so many times. So many people preach Oldhammer to me online. They're like, oh, what do you think about the tournament? I was like, Eldar are just going to be the best. What do you mean? I was like, they had the best singular codex. There's no allies, no formations, no fortifications, no flyers, no Lord of Wars. Eldar, literally all day, every day. Still has all their jet bikes. They still have war spiders. They literally still win the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Like all day, every day. So by restricting it, yet again, all you've done is realign the meta. The reason I like what you were talking about with our boys. It was a purge. Remember the movie The Purge?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because we had a gentleman's agreement that we didn't play like little bitches. We played dope armies, and we were like basically a policing comp community. You had one day a year where we just murder each other. We could literally just go out there,
unpainted,
perform atrocities, unpainted armies, literally primer gray shit. The
Cardboard
wrong models
cutouts.
on bases, cardboard cut. Literally the purge. We could go purge on each other's asses, right? And then after the purge was over, we go back to being gentlemen again.
Wow, what a great analogy. I've never
removed the purge.
That's literally what it was.
And they've removed it from us now. So now we just murder every day.
Mm-hmm. Damn it, GW! You started this.
I don't know if that's what kept everything in line, but it definitely, you can make arguments for and against our boys being a good thing for the hobby in general.
Oh yeah, I could flip it right around. I could say our boys actually gave us a taste for blood.
Mm-hmm.
It actually started the problem, and now we had the blood in their mouths, and they took it from us, and now we went looking for it somewhere else. So we changed the game.
Yep.
Like I can make an argument either way, bro. Like,
no, I super agree with that point there, because
it currently is my opinion and an analogy that I find interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it.
Is. So I think overall we can agree that we don't know what's coming next. For the Custodes or even the Sisters, except for the fact that the Sisters will have 30K rules in the next White Dwarf, according to this month's White Dwarf at least. What it does for the rest of the army, hard to say. But they're great looking models all the way around, and I'm sure people are going to want to play with them more and more and more as we move forward into this holiday season.
And more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see new stuff on the tabletop, obviously, but now we're talking about potentially another codex as well that would have to come out, or a supplement. I could see them getting away with it in a supplement, but then you don't have the actual book. Like, is there enough stuff to put in here? Would they get like the Harlequin treatment? So
I have a quick statement, and then I want like a yes or no. So 8th edition on the way. It seems all but certain that is coming soon. With this new information that we've just received about Custodes and Sisters, and this Unbound, that they did this on purpose, right? This is clearly their design of their game. Do you think, yes or no, that this means that 8th edition might not have a Battleforged option? It might just be Unbound. In comparison to like what we have now, like might be some other word, might be some other thing, but do you think there will no longer be two separate ways to play? It's so that one just gets overlooked for 4 years, do you think there'd just be one way to play?
No.
Why do you say that?
Yeah, to elaborate, I would say they have changed the fundamentals of the game. They have given us verbiage that we've never had before. That verbiage has fully been worked on since 6th, going into 7th. They have said multiple times where, maybe the concept of releasing a brand new edition versus, doing updates and things like that. I do not see that they reinvent the wheel yet again and get away with all the work that has been done over the past 2 years.
Rob?
I want to say no, but I can't with the current information we have. So I'm at our disposal right now. I'm gonna say yes, just based on what we know right now at this given time.
And so to Juice's statement, I would say this: the only verbiage currently that I see that is the only thing that like locks us into Battleforge is potentially an ally matrix. Everything else that I can see, like on the fly, that has been written into a formation, into a data slate, everything is basically self-contained. Models in this formation's command benefit, this detachment's this. Mm-hmm. That still works in Unbound. None of that is undone by Unbound.
Nope.
If the new rulebook came out and there just wasn't an ally matrix, let's say, because obviously we know that might be coming because this whole Battle Brothers thing's is fucking things up. If you just came out with any models all day, every day, any detachment all day, every day, you remove the ally matrix in that section of the rulebook where it lets there's no Battle Brothers anymore. Like literally your units interact with each other, their own faction, right? Like if you that's what the new rulebook said. Period. Mm-hmm. Like there's still a combined arms detachment, there's still an allied detachment. That's what they do, and there's still all these other formations. Do you think that there's really a lot of literature that would be invalidated if that's the case?
I mean, half of me just says, doesn't all the formations and attachments almost get invalidated?
Why? The attachments are all self-contained. Like an Unbound army can literally have a Tau fire cadre in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess you would be taking detachments because of the bonus that you receive.
Bonuses you get. That's the only thing about an attachment that matters.
Yeah. Because if not, you're just like, I just will take all these individual models.
You can take a couple. You can take a fire cadre. You can take this. You can take that. And to fill it out, let me just sling in these 3 units of jet bikes. Or let me just fill it out with this one demon prince. Let me fill it out with this one bee thirster. Like,
yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? I don't really think a lot of literature would be invalidated.
Well, no, it wouldn't. And then you could slide in a stealth rules update where you change it to be similar to Age of Sigmar. Like you hit on this, you wound on this, DM period, throw in some verbiage on how things work with vehicles. But then
I do have to favor with Juice on this from the last time we talked about this. I don't think, because I do think that does invalidate codexes, because like we have toughnesses and all these things that are factored in.
And that's what I was getting to. Well,
I'll let you finish.
All right. So what if, and I have no pre-knowledge or no anything. I just can look at what they've done in the past and apply it to this discussion now. And doing that, my brain just said, what if they literally Age of Sigmar? They take everything that we have, all the codexes are invalidated. You now put everything into grand allies or whatever you want to call it, right? Because think about it. We already have armies of the Imperium. It's all the loyalist stuff, the Guard, all the Marine chapters together, yada, 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 right? So it's all that. And then you could even say destruction. You're like, okay, so all of Chaos and Disloyal Guard is now destruction. Okay, easy, right? Then you take all of the books, all the codexes, everything. You can re-release all that stuff, but all the information would still be, you could come up with these, like they have for Age of Sigmar, like the Grand Alliance Chaos book. You could have Grand Alliance Chaos for Warhammer 40K, right? And it would have all of your new war scrolls in it, or your data scrolls, actually, which is interesting. If you look at the Lehman Russ, says downloadable rules on Forge World site, they're under a folder on their download section called war scrolls, not data scrolls, which is a whole nother topic of discussion for another day. But so getting back to that, you could easily do exactly how they took all of the books and all the factions. You don't have to kill anything. You still have your Gene Stealer cults. You still have your Tyranids. You still have your whatever. But they would be their own separate little book. You could have free download war scrolls online, just like they did with Age of Sigmar. So yeah, you got to change stuff. But hey, here, it's all here for free, dog.
It always has to change. Every new edition, that something has to change. Anyway, think about it. When a new edition comes out, all we bitch about for the next 3 years is how my codex is old.
Right.
Right.
And then,
if we change the edition, I want a new codex if we change the edition. Like, I don't want this old busted shit.
But think about this. Now you're talking, including the Custodes and the Sister stuff, 21 freaking codexes. Like, they have to condense this down into bigger, more manageable scoops out of the buffet for us to be on board with it. And that's what they did with Age of Sigmar. They made 4 main alliances.
I agree with you. I think if instead of this huge matrix that they just did some grand alliances, awesome. Let's say they don't change toughness and all that shit. I don't think they will. Like, they keep all that the same.
Sure.
And here's another thing they do to make it more Age of Sigmar. Like, in addition to saying, like, let's say they say no more Battle Forge, it's just this way of playing, right? Let's say the main rulebook has, like, independent characters not a thing. Right?
Wow.
Like, oh shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Oh shit. Then all of a sudden Death Stars aren't a thing, right? Then let's say, let's say now they change vehicles to be this. Literally there is a couple of things they can do, and it's a game changer. What if they fucking did just say, this rule is -2 your armor save. This rule is -1 your armor save. This rule is 2 damage. There's a bunch of things they can do to completely change the way we play 40K, but still it'd be 40K because we still have toughness, we still have vehicles, we still have all these other things.
Yeah, if you kind of keep it more save related, that's kind of what the whole concept of AP value is like minuses and stuff like that. It's just done a different way. But now that we're talking about or kind of take us back to how we mentioned earlier with older armies. In 4th edition 40K, a Choppa, an Orc Choppa,
is the first Age of Sigmar weapon.
Yep.
Yeah. You couldn't take better than a 4-up save. And now that didn't scale up, guys. That was literally a Terminator that had a 2-up save. No. You have a 4-up save. But now if I have a 4-up save, because my armor is so much shittier, I still just get to keep my 4-up save. So there's some flaws in it, but that's one of the things that comes to my mind when we talk about those kind of modifications.
And also, our invulnerable saves in Age of Sigmar are taken after you fail a regular save.
So there's really just a save, and then
like a ward save is essentially quote unquote invulnerable save, and you could take it after a failed save, right?
Okay, that's a really bad precedent. It doesn't work that way. So there's things that say if you take a mortal wound, you can deny a mortal wound on this roll, and that's the only way to get around that. I think that's the only exact. I'm not sure on the exact terminology, but a save is a save. There's not a ward save. There's only one save in Age of Sigmar. And then there's ways to negate mortal wounds, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Word. That'd be cool. That'd be cool if something like that came into play. If like double toughness weapons were mortal wounds, regardless of AP value. If like there'd be all sorts of crazy things you can do to 40K. They're like, oh shit, all of a sudden.
Oh, a mortal wound?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like like AP 3 strength 8 all of a sudden makes Terminators take 3 of their Storm Shield saves.
Yeah, you can even say the Storm Shield, instead of or say it's a 3-up save. Also, if you take a mortal wound, you can deny it on a 5-up or something. Whatever. Like that would be a way to get around it, and then you wouldn't have this whole like, wait, so a D weapon. I can get my cover save against it, and I can get my vulnerable save against it. Let me think what I'm doing here. And then that whole like lookout sir shenanigans thing, like once you take a wound on something, you're taking a wound.
Just get that out of the game. 2 things that need to get taken out of the game.
Right.
Casualties dying based on the angle of the attack, and lookout sir.
Yep, and it's more streamlined. You know, you get down to the brass tacks of just rolling your dice and battling your toy soldiers, hitting each other back and forth. And I think that's what they want.
Absolutely.
We have gone over a lot, I feel like. Or maybe we didn't. It feels like we went over a lot.
We have.
Okay. I'm sure Juice wouldn't mind getting to sleep so he can get up and
yeah, gotta feed the golfers.
Mm-hmm. And me and Kenny got our stuff to do here, so we're gonna jump off here. We don't have a Haspel tonight, so I'll just hit you guys with the normal. Make sure you head on over to thelongwar.net. That's the home of the battle reports for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of the Long War today.